Welcome back, everyone. In the previous episode, we watched as Tu Nu began to notice strange changes in her body, fatigue, nausea, and other symptoms that left her worried. Was it just stress? Or something much bigger? And in this episode, the truth finally comes to light. Tu Nu quietly went out to buy a pregnancy test. Her hands trembled as she waited, and then 2 red lines appeared. She's pregnant with Truong's child. A flood of emotions rushed over her, joy mixed with fear. Truong is still missing. No one knows where he is, and now she has to face something far greater than she ever imagined. What will she do next? Should she keep the secret to herself or tell Truong's mother? Is this a gift from fate in her loneliest days? Or the beginning of an entirely new challenge? Stay tuned to find out how Tu Nu will face this truth. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow the video to see what happens next. Tu Nu walked down the narrow road leading to the pharmacy, her heart filled with a nameless fear. Questions kept echoing in her head. Am I really pregnant? Could all this exhaustion, nausea, and discomfort be because of that? She wasn't sure, but the fear crept through every heartbeat. The small pharmacy appeared ahead. She stood still for a moment, taking a deep breath to steady herself before walking in. Her eyes wandered nervously around the store. Her body didn't feel the same anymore sometimes. Just the smell of something fishy made her nauseous, and there were moments she felt so dizzy she had to sit down. Every time she bent over or lifted something heavy, a dull pain spread across her lower belly. A single thought echoed in her mind, tightening her chest. Could I really be pregnant? She didn't want to believe it, but all the signs pointed that way. Unease spread through her body as her hands trembled in front of the counter. Trying to stay calm while speaking to the pharmacist, the woman behind the counter looked at her with a mix of surprise and kindness. She began asking gentle questions. Do you feel any pain in your stomach? Have you had your period this month? Are you late? Tu Nu tried to remember, but her mind felt blank. She only knew it had been a while since she'd seen any sign of her cycle. Each question cut deeper, like tiny blades, against the growing fear inside her. The pharmacist gave her a sympathetic look, nodding softly as if she understood. In a calm voice, she explained what to do. All it takes is a pregnancy test, a few drops of urine, and the truth will reveal itself. Tu Nu listened quietly, feeling the world blur around her. It sounded so simple, yet for her, it was a life-changing moment, one that could alter everything. She took the test, her palms slick with sweat. Her voice trembled as she thanked the pharmacist. Each step away from the store felt heavier than the last. The evening sun stretched long shadows across the road, casting a soft, lonely glow on her face. Inside the small paper bag was the one thing that could decide her future, a simple pregnancy test, yet heavy with the weight of destiny. Her hand tightened around the bag, caught between fear and hope. If she truly was pregnant, this would be her last connection to Truong, the man she still couldn't find, the one who had vanished without a trace. The thought made her eyes blur with tears. Part of her wanted to believe this was a miracle, a sign that Truong was still out there somewhere, that he hadn't left her forever. But another part of her was terrified. If it was true, she would have to face everything alone right when life was already so full of struggles. That afternoon, As the sunlight turned golden over the schoolyard, Hao came to pick up Dewey. The little boy was laughing and playing happily with his friends, which eased her heart. Dewey was still so innocent, unaware of the storm surrounding his mother's life. When Tiu Nu arrived, she looked exhausted, but still tried to smile. Hao could see the effort behind her eyes. Dewey ran up and hugged his mom, his bright smile making the moment both warm and heartbreaking. Tiu Nu bent down to lift him up, hiding her fatigue behind endless love. Watching her, Hao suddenly remembered the day she and Truong's mother went searching for him when they stumbled across flyers with Tiu Nu's phone number on them. It was a clear sign that she was still quietly looking for the man she loved. When Hao mentioned it, Tiu Nu's eyes trembled for a moment, her worry and longing plain to see. As the evening settled in, the two women walked home with Dewey. In the gentle breeze, Tiu Nu looked so small, holding her child tightly, as if to draw strength from him. The golden light of sunset covered the porch as Hao helped Dewey off the bike, her heart filling with sympathy as she looked at her friend. The house was quiet, with only the sound of wind rustling through the kumquat trees. Hao invited her to rest, noticing the weariness on her face and the silent burden in her eyes. Dewey kept playing his innocent laughter, softening the heaviness in the air. Before leaving, Hao gently reminded her to take care of herself. Left alone, Tiu Nu stood quietly watching her friend disappear down the road, letting the fading sunset wrap around her nameless loneliness. After calming Dai and getting him to play quietly in his room, a sudden thought hit her: the pregnancy test. She had bought it that afternoon, but in her exhaustion and confusion, she had completely forgotten about it. Tiu Nu's hands trembled as she opened the bag. She took out the test, each movement slow, careful but heavy with tension. Her mind was filled with a swirl of emotions, fear, anxiety, and a faint glimmer of hope. She knew this result could change everything. She waited. Every second felt endless. The ticking of the clock echoed through the silence, making her heartbeat race faster. And then, as her eyes landed on the test, two red lines slowly appeared. In that moment, everything around her seemed to disappear. She could hear nothing but the sound of her own heartbeat. Tears streamed down her cheeks. She was pregnant. It was Truong's child. A tiny life growing inside her, born of love and longing. Happiness and fear collided within her chest. In the quiet of the house, Tiu Nu gently placed a trembling hand on her stomach. She knew from this moment on, her life would never be the same. She sat down beside Dewey, her eyes trembling as she looked at her little boy's innocent face. Pulling him close, she felt his small warmth spread through her body, soothing the storm inside her heart. In that moment, she knew that no matter what happened, this was her reason to keep going. When she looked into Dewey's pure eyes, memories of Truong came flooding back, the laughter echoing in the yard, his hand holding hers under the soft light of sunset. It all felt like a distant dream she could no longer reach. Now, it was just her Dewey, and the tiny life growing inside her, the child she and Truong had unknowingly created in the days before their separation. She held Dewey tighter, tears falling freely. The ache of missing Truong filled her chest, but she knew she couldn't tell anyone, not yet. Everything was still too fragile, too uncertain. She was afraid that if she spoke, everything would fall apart. A faint smile appeared on her lips, though her eyes still carried an ocean of worry. Chunu glanced outside where the soft evening light filtered through the trees. Inside her was a mess of emotions: joy, fear, hope, and confusion. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, or how Truong would react when he found out she was carrying his child. But she knew one thing for sure: no matter what happens, she'll protect her baby, and she'll protect their love until the very end.